to the tactics talk for Newcastle versus Leicester City. Sam, as you can see, me and Sam are in our Christmas jumper day. Yes, so we thought we'd come on and do one a bit earlier. Sam, big game.
Yeah.
As you can see on the side here, I have added the fixtures and the past results.
Yeah.
No, either team have not really had the best of form going into this. Obviously, we have picked up 4 points in the last 2 games. They've only picked 2 points up in the last 4 games, so they're not in the best of form. We're going into this game with a bit more confidence probably than them. But what's your take on this game before we get into the teams?
Never an easy place to go, really. You know, you've been there many times in the past 10 years. St James's is always a tough game to go and get a result from because their crowd is always immensely loud and good. So if we play anything like we did against Brighton away from home, you know, I think we are going to struggle to pick up a point in the last minutes. Obviously, having that home advantage does help. So I think if you give a team like Newcastle, who need to find some form, if you give them an inch, they're going to take that mile. So I think it's definitely there to go and get a point, if not more. But I think we do need to be very structured in how we go and play against Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about a few players before we do get into the teams. Let's pick Ndidi. Obviously, he is injured now from what we know of. He might be fit, but I don't think he will be after him coming off against Brighton. But what's your take on him at the moment? Because we have seen him in the past with Cooper, and he wasn't, in my opinion, great. But since Rude's come in, he's really stepped the mark.
Yeah, he's going to be a big miss. And might as well put him in the same category as Samari as well, because they're both going to be out for this game. So obviously that's the 2 holding midfielders since Rude's come in that they both have played 2 very good games under Rude. So it's going to be difficult, but I think it's a great opportunity for players like Skip and hopefully Winks, if he's back fit, to come back into the team. Obviously, alluding to I'm going to put into my team. But I think, you know, for me, that it's a great opportunity for those players who have been on the bench to come in and fight for their place whilst, you know, there's an opportunity there to make it into the first 11.
Yeah, right, we'll get straight into it then, Sam. Obviously, goalkeepers, I'm guessing no one's putting Danny Ward into this game. So, Mads Hermansen, again, for me, probably nearer to player of the season for us already.
Definitely up there.
I think you could probably name a few others, but right now, with the position we're in and where we are, I think that has to be in contention for player of the season.
It's not even a conversation, is it really? It's just, Hermansen, he's in there. He's made some good saves. We've obviously conceded a lot of goals, obviously not through his issues. He saved us from a lot more, you know, probably 20 plus more goals that we could have conceded so far this season. But I think in the last 2 games against West Ham and Brighton, it's been a good testament to see Cody back in that team and help out Hermansen, because I think Hermansen's had less to do, which is always a good thing, you know, when your keeper doesn't have to make as many saves.
Yeah, and I did see a stat of when you're mentioning about how many goals we haven't conceded compared to how many goals we could have done. We've scored more goals than all the bottom 6. We've scored more goals than Man United, more goals than Newcastle, and I think maybe one other team in the top half. I think even Forest, we've scored more goals than. But because of the conceding goals, we aren't anywhere near the...
It's like a FIFA game we're
playing over
this season. We score a lot, we also concede a lot.
So, again, I don't think we've got issues scoring goals. It's more about defending them. But in the last 2 games, as you can see on the results again, we have picked up results. Depending on how well we played. I don't think we played too well against Brighton, but we got the point in the end. But moving into the defence, Sam, I'm obviously talking about goals conceding. What are you changing from Brighton? Or are you changing anything?
I don't think I'm changing too much, because I think the defence has been fairly solid. Obviously, there's been some issues, obviously, from West Ham as well. I'm taking that into account, where we did concede 30 shots against us. And Brighton as well, we obviously kept that to 15. So, you know, we definitely had better structure. I still think there's some errors in the game. And obviously, the person you put in the graphic there, Isak for Newcastle, he is immensely rapid. You know, he is Jamie Vardy for them, isn't he? He's quick and he knows how to find the net. So I find it's going to be difficult to put in defenders when, you know, the pace of Newcastle can counter us. And, you know, Harvey Barnes, I'm sure he'll score against us first time playing against us.
I don't think he's played many games recently. I think it's more been Gordon that's been playing in that role.
Even so, Barnes, Gordon, they've got great players Newcastle do. So the fact that they're struggling a bit this season is a bit surprising. But for me, defence, I think so far we've done okay. I think I'm going to put Cody back in there in the centre back role because he's just a natural leader.
Okay.
And since Rude's come in, you can see that he's definitely someone who has come in and he's done what I said he should. What he could have been doing. So when he's not been playing is that leadership role in defence. Because I feel like the back four it's been lacking someone to control them. We'll concede one and players' heads will go, thighs will moan, Justin will not track back as well, and there's been some issues. So Cody, solid in my team again, and I'm probably going to put Vestergaard in there as well because I think those two together done fairly good. Obviously, the pace is a little bit of an issue with that against Newcastle's attackers, but I think if anyone deserves it out of the 4 or 5 centre backs we have, it's those two.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I was a bit hesitant when you were saying that a few weeks ago in your teams, but I think what Rude had to do after the so many defensive errors we've had is gone back to basics. We know you want to have an old school defender who will just get that ball out. With obviously Vestergaard as well being.
Reminds me of Robert Huth and
Yes.
Morgan. Neither of those two had pace, but they both won as the Premier League.
But Vestergaard is different in the way of he can pass that ball out compared to them two. So you've obviously got Cody who is a bit more old school, but you have got Vestergaard who is both old school and can pass the ball.
I think in today's day and age, both with Fies and Akoli, that both of them are way too technical for defenders. I feel like they're trying to play a game of like what you would probably call chess. There's like so many different aspects to it. Whereas I would just see here's your centre back. When that ball comes to your feet, just absolutely hoof it up the pitch and get it out of our box.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Fies and Akoli have been way too technical and trying to play smart football. But against some of these teams, like you say, when they've got Isaac, Barnes, Gordon, Ramirez, all those types of players for them, it's going to be a struggle in defence against Newcastle, and I think they're going to see if they could change their look around a team that against Leicester they probably should try and get something at home. Yeah,
exactly. I've gone for the same defenders again. I would normally have put someone like a Coley in, but with how well with them to have played, yes, it's great against Brighton, but we did concede less shots. We did eventually get the draw, and I don't think that they could really put much of a foot wrong. I feel like they've done enough to keep in the team. And you are seeing the likes of Faze coming in off the bench, which people would say is a bit of a scary moment to see. But when the game is stretched, I like Rude said, when the game is stretched, you need someone with a bit more pace to counter that counter attack if we do get high on the pitch and we do get countered. So again, I'm not too opposed to that. And again, if you need to bring someone like Faze or Akoli on, I'm not opposed to that either. But them two have to start for me as well. Going into the fullbacks then, Sam, what is your opinions on this?
I think, again, it's kind of, there's not really many options. Christensen left back and Justin right back. That's, quality or not, we really don't have many replacements either side. So we can't afford 3 for those two to get in. I think both of them have done fairly well. I think Christensen has definitely had a good season. I think so far, I think he's done fairly well. Justin, I know a lot of people find issues in his game. I think he looks a lot better, when we're attacking than we are defending. I think I've said that for a while. His strength is a wing back and not just a solid right back. So I think in my structure today, I'm going to play a little bit more of that kind of wing backy role. So I think if you push Justin and Christensen up the pitch just a little bit for me, because I think they might play as a little bit more wing, not quite wing backies, but I think you might see them both run up the pitch like they do. And I think that's how Justin's strengths are, and same for Christensen. I think they're both better when they have more up and down on the pitch.
Yeah, as we mentioned in James Justin as well, there's a lot of rumours now coming closer to January that we will need to look for positions to cover or get replacements for. What positions for you do you think we kind of need to look for first? In my opinion, it is wingers. It's definitely a right winger now. Fatty is out. And then out of all the positions, I think the midfield is pretty much covered. Yes, with injuries, maybe not right now, but in general there is. And then in defence,
I think you can make a case for a lot of positions because players have good and off days. I think if I said, right, we've got to sign 3 or 4 new players to fit this team, I'd say we definitely need a new centre back. I know we have a lot and it's an issue, but I think we need a more solid centre back. And obviously, I think this is subject to selling someone like Fies in the January transfer window. I don't think anyone would come in for him, but I do think we have to ship off a couple of players before we bring him in.
It looks like we are. Well, from the rumours around, it sounds like Edouard's going to be sent back.
Yeah.
And
And they don't have to be permanent signings. They
No.
can be loanies. I mean, again, it would be amazing if you ask me. I don't think it's going to happen. I've heard Maguire back on loan for Man U because he's obviously not getting in their team. I'd absolutely take him back in this team. I think him and Cody would be, that would be a very, very, very solid centre-back pairing. And I'd take him, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I'd say a centre-back. I'd say a fullback as well. Hopefully one that could be versatile on the left and right. And I think wingers. I think our wingers are okay. Our winger situation. I do think that potentially we need a new striker in the team. Depends on if we recall Cannon or not, because he's having a fairly good season at Stoke.
Yeah, I don't think strikers is the major issue with the likes of Daka hopefully starting to see a bit more of a game plan, and the way he's playing I think he's suiting him a bit better. Yes, if we bring Cannon back, then fair enough. I don't think we need another striker, but the right winger spot now we've lost Fatiwu. I don't think McAteer is the level that we need him. In my opinion, he has the pace, he has the ability. I don't think he's got the
I think
finishing
the way
quality.
the club's going to look at it is, do we need to bring in a new player? And they're probably looking at it and going, well, come January time, you never know. If we're outside of that bottom three still, they're probably going to look and say, well, we need to strengthen in defence because we're conceding. But, like we said at the start of this, we're scoring goals as well. So they're probably going to look and say, well, that team that's been playing out there, Buonanotte, Vardy, Ayew, DeCover Reeds, Mavididi, all of those players, not one player has really took off. They've all been involved in the goals and assists. So, they're probably looking at going, well, the lads up front can score, so it's more the defence that we're worried about. Because, the four defenders that we both put in, we've gone for the same four defenders, but I think we could both make an argument for each one of them that we could replace with a new player in January.
Yeah, I'd say that I think Christensen, since Ruud's come in, I think he's done better than what we thought he had. But JJ, I think at times, because he's not so technically great on the ball, I think that's where maybe you miss out because he either kind of boots it or just passes it backwards. I wouldn't say he's the greatest at passing. So I think for me, out of everyone, that right back spot would need a bit of a cover or trying to find someone better.
Is Pereira past it? Because I think he's done with us now. I think he had a good season last year in the Championship, and he comes straight back to the Premier League. And again, this is his fourth injury in a row in the Premier League. It's ridiculous, and I think he's past it. He's not as young as you think. I think he's 30 odd now. He's creeping up there. So as much as I liked Pereira, in his prime a few years back,
Well, we have had him for like 7 or 8 years now, sure, haven't we?
I think maybe 5, 6, yeah. It's just, as much as I like Pereira, I think he's probably past it. So, I can see us replacing him.
It's going to be a hard. I would, as much as you say he's past it, I'd say it's going to be a hard replacement because from what he's been, while he's been here, he's probably been one of our top 2 or 3 players in the
pre-injury, team. Yes, but pre-injury, we are talking about 4 years.
No, I know, I get that. I'm just saying when we know the quality of him.
Since COVID time, I've not seen Pereira back to his 100%.
No, of course not. But I'm saying that from what we've known of him, it's going to be a hard replacement.
You don't get, he's past his prime with his. I think he's 29, 30 now, so he's not getting any younger. He's definitely coming towards the end of his career. If I'm googling it, because I'm pretty sure. Let's have a look at his age. Yeah, 31. So there you go. He's definitely past his prime. So if you ask me, I would agree. Right back in the January transfer window, if it's a loanee, bring someone in, from a team that they're not really playing in. Maybe a mid-table Premier League team. I mean, I couldn't pick any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a couple from the Man U's and that aren't getting.
When does Ricardo Pereira's contract run out for us? Because that's one thing.
I've got a feeling it's 25, 26. I think he's on for another year with us. So
I don't know if we can actually find them stats, but it can't be too long now. I think when he signed the last contract, he did sign like a 2025 or 2026 contract, didn't he?
Something like that.
So he might be up soon, but is he a player that I feel like he's been quite loyal to us. So I don't think if he goes somewhere, he's not going to get that next big move. I think he'll now go to maybe like a Porto again or something like that.
I don't think it's a loyalty thing. And as good as a player as he has been and was, I think the real issue is the reason he's not been picked up by any clubs is because he's injured. And he, at least every season he'll be out, I'd say, for 4 or 5 months of the whole season. And when you're trying to sign someone, it's like clubs don't want to sign a player like that, injury prone. in his prime, an absolute baller of a player, but right now injury prone. You said the same for Fofana, couldn't you? He got signed by Chelsea for 80 million, and he's injured most of the time. I think he's out injured again for quite a long time with them. So
it's going to be hard. But like I say, we've spoken about the transfer window a bit and who we should be getting. But we'll move into the midfield, Sam. You already kind of alluded to at the start that you are wanting the two midfielders you spoke about in Skip and Winks. If Winks is fit, we don't know until probably later today. But is that you're going for?
No, I think I'm going to move it around just a smidge. So I'm going to have one defensive midfielder in there. So that is going to be Skip for me again. Ndidi and Samari, probably the first two that I would have picked. But because, when the players are injured, I think play to the strengths. And I think the next best defensive mid is Skip. I don't think any of the other ones are really defensive midfielders. I wouldn't say Winks really is any of the subject to him being fit. So I'd put Skip in there. And then I guess I'm going to put just ahead of him, I will put El Kanous in there just ahead of Skip as that central mid / central attacking mid role. So, it'll be, around there will do. And I guess you can move into the other spot. It will be Buonanotte for me as well. I think my main reason for being a little bit more on the front foot against a team like Newcastle is their team is going to be very strong and fast at attacking us. I feel like the more we can put them in the back foot and in their own half, the better chance we have of, keeping them in, against the run of play rather than them, coming and attacking us. I feel like if we sit back and let them attack us, that they're not gonna hold back. They've got a very good and strong and fast team to come and attack us. So when you're playing away, I think, and especially with the plays out, I think Newcastle's a good chance to try and get something from it.
Yeah, well, I'll put this guy up, Winks. Do you see him, if he's fit, do you think he'll play over Skip? Because I get the point of what I think Rude does want that defensive-minded midfielder in there. With Samari and Wilfred and Ndidi out, I think Skip has to be in there. But will Winks play if he is fit? Maybe take out one of the attacking mid-spots.
It could happen. It could be Skip and Winks. It could be both of them. Will it happen? I don't know. It depends on how fit Winks is, really. That's obviously subject to the matter, isn't it? We'll never know until the day. I don't know. For me, I think I'd rather play Skip just because he is more defensive-minded and he's, I guess you'd probably say, more match fit than Winks is because Winks had a few weeks out.
Yeah, fair enough. Going to my midfielders then, I think Skip is the only one that's a definite starter now. Two of the midfielders are out. And then it's the other one that I'm struggling with because I think the only other choice you've either got is Winks or even Chowdhury. So do you know what? I'm gonna stick Chowdhury in there just because he is defensively minded, and up front I'm not having one of my wingers in there. So I'm gonna go with that, and then like you say in the middle, I'm gonna go Buonanotte just because he is the best one in that position for that role. So we'll move back into your team then, Sam, and we'll go for your one winger first because there's a few choices and a bit of debate on what wingers are what.
There is a few choices. Again, like I said, the left side, I struggle to see some of the better options. I think for me, right side, keeping it attacking, I am going to start McAteer. I think he showed some good qualities in this past few games that he's played, especially the West Ham one. I think a few of his, I guess you'd say, football decisions, football-minded decisions in the last third where he'd cut back, maybe a bit drilled in from Enzo last season. But I think when he takes on a player, he's got a good enough pace and attacking strength to do that. So I put McAteer in my team, and I think, if we're going to go out there and attack Newcastle from the front foot, then play your attacking players.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to go on for my right-hand side now, and I'm going to put El Kanous in. I don't care if people think he's not a winger. He did very well against West Ham on the left-hand side. But now we've seen a couple of games of McAteer on the right-hand side. I don't think he's to the standard. Maybe not El Kanous either on that right-hand side. But from what we saw of him on the wide spot against West Ham, I think he did well enough. And to be honest, with what we need to be creative-wise, you need both of them starting. And as much as he's not a winger, I think I keep saying he did well against West Ham. So I'm going to give him another chance there. And on the left-hand side, I've done a post today, and there's only one man I think has to start against any other team at the moment because I think AU was very poor against Brighton. And Mavididi, as much as he might be poor from the start, I think he's much of a threat, and he just gives more than what AU would do in the attack, in my opinion. So there's mine. Sam, you pick your left-hand side. I would say you'd pick Mavididi, but I feel like you could pick AU.
I get that RU maybe didn't have the best game against Brighton, but I could make a case probably in 10 games where Mavididi hasn't played good. So I think one bad game for RU doesn't counteract 5, 6, 7, 8 bad games that Mavididi has played. Obviously, I didn't watch the Brighton game, but I went to the West Ham game. Mavididi came on pretty quiet for me. I didn't see him do too much in his 20-minute cameo against
I will say to you that he did a lot better against Brighton and when he came on than he did against West Ham.
Yeah, maybe. I've only seen the highlights.
Yes, I get that, yeah.
So I will put Mavididi in there because I guess, like say, if I'm going attacking, then Mavididi's the attacking option. But he really needs to step up for me because if you're asking me, I'd say by this time and Christmas, it's not long now, 3 weeks until the new year. If Mavididi hasn't stepped up, I would consider maybe looking at a new left winger in the January transfer window because I think that Mavididi either A, needs competition, or B, he needs to get dropped, and we need to have a better option because it's his time to shine. If he's ever going to hit his prime, it's now. 26 years old, first time in the Premier League, playing at a club which can give him the opportunity to play week in, week out, and he isn't striving as much as we probably thought, or as much as we would like him to. So as much as I liked him last year, I thought he was a great player. I've seen very little glimpses of that this year, and he does need to step up. And I think Newcastle will be a great test, a massive ground away with some great players, a great manager, and great fans that they have. And if he can't do it against there, really that is probably outside the top 6, the next best level, of playing away. If he's not going to be able to do it there under that kind of circumstances and pressure, I don't really know where he's going to pick it up. There's going to be 80,000 fans watching it. If he is on the ball, I think it's about time that he does turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then the final position, Sam.
There's only one man, isn't there? Really?
Is there any man? Is there only one man who's going to get another 10 games in a row, scoring 10 goals and breaking his own record?
Breaking his own record? No, this is my man that's going up front. No, obviously it's Jamie Vardy that's going to go.
Do you think he's going to break his own record?
Well, get 12 in 12.
Yeah, he's already done 2. He's already done 2, and under Rude, he seems a lot more
of a threat. Ask me again in January if he's scored.
So how many games is that? I think there's 4 games left in December.
Ask me when he's halfway there. When he's at the 6-game mark and he's still going, then I'll say,
can you see that he's as much as we knew how much of a threat he was at times as well, under Rudy seems like he has a bit extra to him that we've not seen in a while.
Well, I've said this for the past 4 years, and I think Phil would agree with me that all the managers we've had, even Rodgers, Puel, Enzo, and Cooper, and now, or not now Rude, but Cooper to Rude, it's took those many managers for Rude to say, right, the biggest strength from Jamie Vardy is that one quick ball, one-on-one with the keeper, and he taps it away. And you can see he's clinical with the finishing, because obviously DeCover Reed's ball was a high one, looping chip that came down to him, and Vardy volleyed it, didn't he, down?
I wouldn't say it's a chip, it was more of a shot, but...
Oh, you say shot, I say it was a lob ball. Either way, the ball was high to him, and he had to catch it well to get the ball down.
Jono here says Mavididi is a great impact, so we need consistency and experience to start on the left. Jono,
which is the case for Ayew.
Is that what you're saying?
I think he's alluding to Ayew to start, which you can make the case for, like say, against Newcastle playing them, but they've got a good. Is Trippier playing for them? Is he fit for Newcastle? Or is
I don't think he is. I think he's either injured or he's just not getting in the team. I don't think he's been that great for them recently.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing for us because free kicks wise, it's way less of a threat. But I don't know. I get people's opinion on AU. I do. He has scored goals. He has scored big goals, but I just don't know if, for me, he's that much of a threat going forward compared to someone like Mavididi. I get the point. He's not done too much.
I think the biggest issue is, and like Jono said there, impact sub. I think the issue is a lot of our players at the moment are better as impact subs, but we can't afford for all of them to be impact. If you're saying Ayew is a better impact sub and Mavididi is a better impact sub, we say, well, who are you going to play then? Because someone's got to start on the pitch. Someone's got to start there. So,
yeah,
I make the case. I think at the moment Ayew is the 10 times better player than Mavididi in the case of consistency.
Would you say quality-wise, Mavididi? Well, really?
Yeah, because he's actually performing. You can't say, you could say if buts and maybe about all these players, but Mavididi's never shown his quality.
Would you say he's performing defensively well? Because I don't think attacking-wise.
But he's scored 4 or 5 goals so far and got a few assists.
It's going to be a one to agree to disagree because I don't think going forward. Yes, he scored goals, but these were all last-minute winner.
Doesn't matter.
Last-minute winner.
Doesn't matter.
A goal from being 2-0 down. I don't think they're goals which you could say big moments in a way.
If we're going on, we need results. IU probably is supposed to be more consistent, but I think I'm going to give Mavididi another chance. If we're going to go attacking, then yeah, Mavididi, put him in the team.
Jono says here, this is why we need a new winger. AU is not good enough. Mavididi, I think, will be better over time. I think the more game time Mavididi gets, hopefully starting wise, I think he will show the quality. I think when you're only bringing him on for 10 minutes here or there, I don't think you'll get the most out of him, in my opinion. I know that when he has started before, he has not been great.
It depends on what you say by give players time.
I'm guessing we're putting both Vardy in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The issue with giving players time is we don't have time this season.
Yeah.
We don't have time. For me, Mavididi's had 13, 14 games so far this season, and he's made enough appearances, starts, and cameos where he has maybe in 2 games. I think it was Villa and Everton. Those 2 games he actually did something. But apart from that, I've not seen him do much else. I've not seen him get involved in the games. Whether he started or come off on the bench. And unfortunately, like I said, I'll give it until January, but if he's still underperforming at the moment, then a new winger I think will be needed because we can't afford this season to get relegated because we know we're going to get bent over backwards by the Championship if we do get relegated. And, I'd rather bring in a decent left winger on loan signed if that means he's going to provide 5 to 10 goals towards the end, at the back end of the season.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. There's our teams. There's Sam's team with McAteer, and you're missing Chowdhury, whereas on mine I've been a bit more defensive, but I'd still say it's just as an attacker with the 3 creative midfielders in a way. But I do think we need them 2 defensive-minded midfielders in there. But I do think El Khanous could do that job in that role because we've seen him do it for Morocco as well before, but which team would you say, Sam, is the most likely to get a result, if you had to say? I know they're very close.
I guess it depends on how we want to play. Like I said, with a lot of things, and I know Rude's alluded to it, that being on the front foot, playing against the run and play, pushing Newcastle in their own half when they've got the ball, is the better way to get the balls against these better teams because. All results aside, Newcastle are a very good team, and if they want to turn up and if they want to perform, they will turn up and they will perform, especially at home. They'll consider this a massive game to try and get 3 points and build their confidence back up and get some points in the kitty. So I don't know how it's going to start. I don't know if my team's it could be the best result. I know Rude's obviously, like I say, alluded to the fact that he's going to play teams against the opposition, and I'm not going to lie, I don't know anything about how Newcastle play, other than they've got very good attacking players. But I don't know how they set up, and I don't know how the defence is, because obviously I'm not a Newcastle fan, so I don't watch them, so I don't know. But, hopefully Brude's done his own work, and he'll hopefully play the players for the best positions. And like I say, with Samari and Ndidi being out, it's a good time for your Chowdhury's, your Skips, your Winkses to work their way back into that team.
Yeah, finally, score prediction, Sam, for Saturday.
I think if we go out there and play a little bit more, I wouldn't say attacking football, but I'd say a little bit more structured football, and rather than allowing them to, attack us and just to have that bit there of a marking. I always prefer the player marking to zonal marking. So I think if we sit on the halfway line a little bit higher up on the pitch and the attacking players, hence why I've got quite a lot of attacking players in my team. If they can push the defence a little bit higher, I'd be happy again with a draw there. I'd love a win, but I'd take it'd probably be a 2-2 draw because, like I said, we're ending up with FIFA results at the moment. We're scoring a decent amount and also conceding a decent amount.
Yeah, before I do mine, I think Luke's coming up. Facundo and Bilal swapping both can play either right or number 10. Just let them run roam. Steffi has to start with the only creative McAteer, and he's benching for me. I agree, but it all depends how Rude wants to sell. He has played them. He has played them sort of both attacking midfielders on the left and right.
Yeah.
Before,
I get what if you mean Steffi's the only attacking-minded player on the left wing, then I get it. I don't think he's definitely not the only attacking-minded or the creative-minded player in the team. Like I said, I don't have an issue with Mavididi. I don't like the fact that he reminds me so much of Damari Gray, and when he doesn't do something or it doesn't go his way, he instantly drops his head. We saw it against West Ham. Really, you said it yourself.
I get it.
He came on for 20 minutes. He lost the ball and he didn't run back. And it's like he looked like he'd been playing for about 2 or 3 hours, but he'd only been on the pitch for 10 minutes and he wasn't tracking back. And for me, I just think that laziness in his game. Yeah, you at the moment you're right. Also, with Fatu injured, which is why I make the argument for if Mavididi doesn't step up to the plate, that's where you get a new winger in the January transfer window.
Yeah, I get you. Right, score prediction for me. What did you say? Sorry.
2-2.
2-2. I'm gonna go out there and bold and say we're gonna win 3-1. I think we're gonna get them.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Keep the points rolling on the table. And oh god, what am I doing here? I will go back to my team. Do I see my players scoring? I'm gonna say El Canus gets 1, Mavididi gets 1 if he starts, and Vardy will get 1. But there you go, guys. Appreciate you all coming on again for the Tactics Talk show. As you can see, these are teams for Saturday. Comment your who you think's the better team and who you think's gonna win the game. But Sam, make sure to check out the show tonight, the Fox's Focus, to preview preview the Newcastle game, and then obviously make sure to check out Jamie's show on Sunday at 10 o'clock on Sunday. So make sure you check out all them socials, and we'll catch you all on the next show. See you in a bit, guys.